Life can change in an instant. For many wheelchair users, the struggle to push forward is a daily challenge.
After years of development and countless prototypes, we created Rib Grips, the revolutionary wheelchair hand rim covers with built-in ribs for ultimate grip and comfort.
No more slick surfaces, no more heat burns, just pure, reliable grip. Rib Grips, empowering you to push forward with ease. Rib Grips, get a grip on your freedom. Discover the difference. Visit ribgrips.com and use promo code GRIP today.
In a world where dreams meet reality, there exists a place where your business can flourish. That place is Shopify. Imagine having the power to craft your online store with tools that make it as easy as a gentle breeze. Whether you're an artisan of handmade wonders, a creator of digital treasures, or a curator of the latest trends, Shopify stands by your side. With its customizable templates, seamless integrations, and support that's always there, your dream store is just a heartbeat away. Join millions of visionaries around the globe and let Shopify guide you on your journey. Visit roguemedianetwork.com/Shopify. That's roguemedianetwork.com/SHOPIFY. And embark on your free trial. Shopify, where your commerce dreams come to life. This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is Astrology Table for Two.
And there's always a third chair for you. If you're listening, this is the start of the podcast.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is the new moon.
The new moon in Taurus, which happens on May 7th at 10:23 p.m. Central Daylight Time at 18 degrees of Taurus. Now, let it be said that Taurus is the moon's favorite sign, or her sign of what we call exaltation. She does her best work in this place, so it feels juicy, calm, relaxed, and generally very grounded and peaceful.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Although I will say, energetically, I've been feeling a bit more hyper these days.
Well, Jordan and I are recording just before this new moon, and the moon is in Aries, just separating from its ruler Mars. Way more high energy.
Yeah.
Then the new moon will be in Taurus. Sure, this is a waning moon in Aries, which means we're winding down a cycle, but we're still feeling a bit amped up.
Yeah.
So if our energy doesn't exactly match the moon, that's totally what it is. And one thing I have to say too is that the moon, as we are recording, it's just separating from Mars and from what we call a malefic enclosure. It's been between Saturn and Mars for the last couple of days.
Okay.
That is tough, like between a rock and a hard place. And when this new moon happens, it's going to be between the planets Venus and Jupiter. So it's a benefic enclosure between like joy and pleasure.
Yeah. Who doesn't love that?
Yeah. And it's really great for this new moon to have both of our favorite planets, Venus, love, joy, aesthetic, and Jupiter, the expansion, the higher learning, the spirituality, to have the moon snuggled right between them.
A very comfortable
triage,
we might say, or grouping.
Yeah, a little menage a trois.
Yeah.
Right there. Taurus is a hedon too.
Yeah,
so Taurus would totally have a menage a trois if given the right situation.
Yeah, consensually, of course. But you know, I do enjoy the hedonism. Sometimes you have to embrace it, and I like Taurin just kind of inspires me to embrace it some more.
With this moon, for sure, if you are finding yourself like eating the delicious food, sipping on the fine wine, laying in the lush grass, because we've had 1 billion pounds of rain.
Yeah, my grass is a little too lush, but that's okay. We're still going to enjoy it this afternoon.
And I think it's really cool because right now we have, so the new moon's happening at 18 Taurus. We have Venus there in Taurus. We have Jupiter there in Taurus. And we have Uranus in Taurus. And there are a few more planets, Mercury being one of them, who are set to join really quickly. So we've got a pile up of planets. This is a stellium plus in Taurus, meaning like if the grass in your backyard looks more like a crazy jungle, like this fecund, just absolutely fertile, like that is very pile up in Taurus.
Okay. That's a great example, actually, because, yeah, my yard is a jungle, and I love it. I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm going to lay in the lush grass.
It's like hyper nature right now.
Yeah, very
Hyper
hyper nature, especially with all this rain and constant blooming around us, too.
Absolutely. And I think it's worth pointing out that Taurus is our fixed earth sign ruled by Venus, and it is essentially representing the height of that fertility, fecundity, lushness of spring. Taurus is the height of spring and the height of growth. So if that height, even though we're at this kind of lull, this reset of the new moon, if you're finding like so much stuff growing in your life, that's natural. And I would say plant all of your seeds.
Yeah.
Anything
Perfect
you're trying
time.
to grow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect time to do that.
Yes, especially because the closest aspect that this new moon will be making to any planet is a sextile with Saturn at 17 degrees Pisces. A sextile is a 60-degree unionizing angle of the nature of Venus herself. So we're bringing in that Saturn in Pisces, the rain, the emotion, the spirituality, and we're infusing this Taurian new moon with those meanings as well.
Okay.
So it might be a long time in coming.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before the show. Some positive growth.
Yeah.
That's been a long time in the making.
Yeah.
We've
slow and steady. I think Taurus kind of
yes
allows you to realize you don't have to rush. You do need to be consistent, but you are allowed to take your time and enjoy watching things grow in front of you. Enjoy the process. Don't be stressed. Don't approach it with such volatile energy.
Exactly, because Mars still is in Aries, and so it's going to feel like we want to go really fast.
We're going to feel a little aggressive, and I felt that way pretty much all week in general. Not going to lie.
It's important to remember too, though, that like the growth we see above the ground is like half the story, because there have been tap roots. Like every plant that you plant spends time growing deep roots.
Yeah.
Before it goes up and then blossoms and blooms. And so it's kind of like, all right, you can't have instant gratification. Taurus, like you said, slow and steady.
Yeah.
You can't grow things instantaneously.
No. And you really learn the joy in the process, I believe. You see the beauty in the process of that growth, and it teaches you to value that growth.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think you used a key word just now. Taurus is Venus's earth sign, right? So it's about the material, it's about the fertile, but it's also about, what was the word you just used?
The process, the growth.
Yes, but there was one other word.
I forgot. Oh my God. That's my fault.
No, it's my fault.
I
shouldn't have
smoked.
No. See, Taurus also would totally smoke. Think about the
absolutely.
earth sign things.
Why do you think we vibe so well together?
I spent 4 years in California. It's natural. It's natural. But besides this Saturnian aspect, the moon will be loosely conjoined Uranus at 22 degrees of Taurus. So there's a 4-degree orb. But basically that means that though we have grown those roots, and though these things do take time, and you can't rush pleasure, you can't rush joy, you can't rush birth, something might suddenly kind of break loose and free.
Yeah.
In a way where you're like, oh my God, I had this internal, personal, emotional breakthrough moment,
Right.
which makes me feel more grounded in who I am and in this moment.
A veil is being lifted in a way.
And I think that the veil being lifted is also kind of like those first little shoots of the plant growing upwards, right? And you're like, wow, there is some sort of a payoff after this long.
The excitement of finally seeing the payoff too, and knowing that the process is the most important part.
We just had this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction earlier on the 20th of April, so in the last lunar cycle. But I think we're going to start to visibly see and internally feel the actual, like, what is it that was suddenly growing or suddenly changing? And it's going to happen in this Taurus part of your chart. So if you're somebody for whom Taurus is your first, your fourth, your seventh, or your 10th house or area of life, you might feel this like a lot.
Yeah.
Kind of more extremely, especially if you have planets between like 15 and 23 degrees of fixed signs. this moon is at 18. So it's going to be really in a positive way, setting those things off and allowing us, like you said, to kind of break through or lift off and then really come into a new fullness, a new wholeness
Right.
in some area.
And I feel like if these new growths are jarring for people, I think it's going to be jarring in a good way. I think in an unexpected, pleasant surprise, like a surprise party.
We love surprise
parties. Yeah, they make you realize like how many people in your life love you and want to make you feel good and express that love to you and celebrate you. And so I kind of looking at it in a very positive manner, just because I feel like Taurus just gives me that kind of energy.
Well, and I think also that you brought up an important point about the relational aspect of Taurus. All Venus-ruled signs are about that union, that connection, that interpersonal relationship that gives rise to love, that gives rise to the joy we experience through relationship. And this moon is going to be no exception.
Yeah.
So if you are just starting to date somebody or just getting into a deeper part of your relationship, this is going to be juicy.
I feel like I'm being targeted right now.
I mean, this moon is happening opposite to yours, so I would expect there to be some long-term relational breakthrough as well.
And I'm very excited about that. Because like we discussed earlier, I think there has been things, not unfortunately, but my body has still held on to, and when those things get triggered, it's interesting to approach them from a new perspective. So I'm really excited to approach them from this mindset with all these planetary placements right now.
And I think you just brought up something important for Uranus and Taurus, a new mindset or a perspective shift. Like that is huge with moon conjunct Uranus and Taurus, is some kind of important foundational value related. That was the word you said.
Yeah,
value. That was it, y'all. Value. Taurus is also about value. The material, right? Okay, yeah. So not only is it about physical material values like money and where you wish to put your financial, your abundance, but it's also about like, what do you care about?
Yeah. What do you value in your life? Yeah.
Especially because Jupiter's there too. So it's Venus and Jupiter, not just what I like personally, Venus, but like what's actually really good for me.
Right.
Jupiter. And in both cases, it's the Taurian right now. It is that perspective shift that hopefully shifts us into a higher octave, especially given that eclipse season is over.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a little bit more inner and outer harmony, and I think that will be easily achievable. Easily.
Well, any Venus-ruled new moon, especially an exalted new moon with both benefics, you're like, all right, there's going to be some more harmony.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
And I think that it's important, too, for everybody listening, if there is some stuff you've been wanting to invest in, some stuff that you've been wanting to prioritize or love on or like care about, this 2-week period of time is the best all year.
Okay.
The very best all year, because what seeds we plant now, to use the earlier metaphor, are going to grow. Like, there's no
matter what. Yeah. And so nurturing is going to be very, very important to focus on, I believe. And I think it's going to be easy for us to nurture too, because we're going to be in that mindset already.
I think that's a key word. A key word is nurture, because the moon, right, it's at home in Cancer, and Cancer is all about that nurture and that care and that investment. But in Taurus, it's more like, all right, but like extra nutrient.
Yeah.
A little bit of not just enough. Like we want more than enough. We want the overflowing abundance, the cornucopia.
Yes.
Of things.
And it's just so funny and coincidental, almost, all the celebrations that I'm going to be experiencing here in the next, I had a celebration last night. I'm going to have another one coming up this next weekend. And I can't wait. I'm excited. I love celebrating other people, especially the people I love and care about. And so excited for those feelings to be even more just heightened and for my love to feel more expansive.
Girl, and that is like the new moon. After it happens, the moon is waxing. So that growing, right, in energy, and that like I'm getting excited. I'm getting ready to emerge. I mean, it could be a coincidence that you're pumped about celebrations, or it's the moon with both benefics.
Yeah, it's definitely that. It's not a coincidence. You and I both know it's not a coincidence.
And the moon itself is also a triplicity ruler of Taurus. So like, not only is this like moon's best place, but it's like underscore the best place.
Yep.
This is the best new moon
The
that
moon-
I
yeah.
see all year.
It's thriving. It is thriving. And so are we. We're all going to be thriving.
Thriving is another keyword. You are rife with these keywords.
Thank
this
you.
morning.
Yeah, they're just coming to me naturally. Maybe it has to be the Taurus season.
Right? Things growing naturally is very Taurian.
Yeah.
And I really feel too, though, that it's paramount to emphasize that with this Saturn connection, whatever you're growing right now, know that it's like a long-term thing.
Yeah.
Positive long-term
Yeah.
thing. But like if you're trying to have some quick fun and like leave it by and just like have a fling, no.
No, you need that commitment. You need that
Yes.
consistency.
Yes, and the consistency is one of the, I think, joys of Taurus. It's
Oh,
that like
absolutely.
routine.
Oh, absolutely. The reliability.
Mm.
Yeah. Y'all are just great. She's a Taurus.
Taurus Sun,
Just-
Taurus Mercury over here.
Such caring, wonderful people. Not that the other signs aren't, but y'all are just the epitome of just love.
Well, it's love that can be relied upon to show
Mhm.
up consistently.
Yeah.
And like it's not fleeting. And that's this new moon's themes, whatever we're working with now, are not going to be fleeting. Even if Uranus like and Jupiter amp it up and like make it surprising and a little bit bigger than it was before, this is not a momentary thing,
No, it's a long lasting thing.
as is most of the Taurian. Slow, steady, and long lasting.
We love it.
So enjoy it. Love
Yeah.
on people. Do fun things.
Yeah. Never any harm on showing people love.
Right? There's no love that you regret giving or receiving,
No,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. The love you give is never lost or wasted.
Amen. It is
Yeah.
put out there into the universe and it nourishes, to use your word, everything around you.
And you will see a drastic shift when you start to view love like that, I think.
That could be part of the Uranus moon conjunction.
I sure hope so.
Well, let us move on as well to a break for a word from our sponsors.
Life can change in an instant. For many wheelchair users, the struggle to push forward is a daily challenge.
After years of development and countless prototypes, we created Rib Grips, the revolutionary wheelchair hand rim covers with built-in ribs for ultimate grip and comfort.
No more slick surfaces, no more heat burns, just pure, reliable grip. Rib Grips, empowering you to push forward with ease. Rib Grips, get a grip on your freedom. Discover the difference. Visit ribgrips.com and use promo code GRIP today.
And we are back with the top 3 transits of this new moon in Taurus lunar cycle. Jordan, take us away.
So Mercury enters Taurus on Wednesday, May the 15th at 12:03 p.m.
And Mercury in Taurus is going to bring, like I mentioned earlier, it's going to add to the pileup
Yeah.
in Taurus and bring even more emphasis and energy into that growing, nourished, fecund place. But it also has its own decan and bound, so Chaldean decan and Egyptian bound. Y'all don't need to know that. It's some technical astrology that basically says Mercury has a little hidden power in Taurus, and specifically in the first decan or first 10 degrees in Taurus. So as soon as Mercury enters on May 15th until May 22nd, when it goes past over towards 11 degrees of Taurus, this is going to be hyper positive time to think, consider, and to write, to share, to exchange, all those Mercury significations.
Okay.
So for grounding, appreciation, gratitude, all of those positive focused things, this week in time is like the best.
Okay. Amazing.
I like how I've said the best for like several different.
It's okay. I think I repeat the same words like constantly.
Well, I mean, I'm a Mercury in Taurus and I'm in the first decan of Taurus, so I could be a little biased, but I'm like, this Mercury, we're going to have some really positive focus. I think
Yeah.
that's the right way to put it. And we're going to have that mental energy for the relationships, for the connections, for the like rosier glasses.
Yeah. And I feel like having that kind of calmer, less aggressive aspect of being in communication with somebody is not only going to nourish that relationship, but also allow ideas to maybe come into fruition more easily if you're working with others.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
A flourishing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's a good time to build, I think, with other people.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes.
You know, like build with your community, or maybe expand into other communities, because it's just going to be a very welcoming, I feel like, collaborative energy.
And that's so right, because Mercury and Jupiter will be in Taurus during the entirety of, well, I say the entirety. For the majority of Mercury's transit, both Mercury and Jupiter will be in Taurus, but especially for this first part. So it's going to be this excellent time for both concentration and expansion,
Yeah.
which is not common.
No. And I feel like it's just going to be, it's not common, but it's also just going to go so smoothly. I mean, why wouldn't it? And if it doesn't, then there's not going to be tumultuous, at least.
Yeah, peace,
You
like
know,
you said
it's
earlier.
not, yeah, it's not a big deal. If it doesn't work out one way, we know it's going to work out another way.
And Mercury in Taurus is good at faith,
Yeah.
especially with Jupiter there, Jupiter who governs a lot of the faith, right?
Oh, yeah.
We get to have that kind of deep internal knowing. And it's okay. So it is said that the Buddha was a Taurus, and he sat around the tree meditating for like a long time.
Yeah.
That is so Mercury in Taurus is like, hold on, let me literally just go inside, deep within, out in nature.
Yeah. Being grounded,
Yeah.
being connected and surrounded by nature,
And
feeling the earth.
and that expansion both inside and out, because it's like what is the old saying, we see things not as they are but as we are.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I think, will be a good time to see things from a grounded and like positive perspective.
Yeah.
Especially those of us who tend to be more pragmatic or practical. The nice thing about Mercury and Taurus, because Taurus is an earth sign, is it's going to be pragmatic and practical, but just also happier.
Yeah. A lot more, loving and caring.
Yes.
And gentle. A little, less gruff, a little more gentle.
One thing I feel to that point is that when Mercury leaves Aries and enters Taurus, our tongues get softer.
Yeah.
We're not like direct and sort of lashing out.
Yeah, it's
like,
not we're not, lashing out is such a great word, because I feel like I've had some experiences where I felt a bit more volatile while Mercury was in Aries, and, my communication could have maybe been expressing those feelings, maybe could have been a little less blunt.
Such a Mercury and Aries keyword. And I feel like often with Mercury and Aries, it's like using the tongue as a sword.
Literally.
Right? Like a battle yell.
Even when it's like not necessary, like you're just like, I'm here.
So Aries. And then Mercury and Taurus is a lot more of like French kissing with the mouth.
Very suddenly super intimate.
And it's the natural, I think, though. And I was telling my favorite best astrologer friend, Nate Leonard, that there's this place. I was dreaming about the Aries Taurus cusp, and it's like we have this intensity and this force that allows us to thrust forward, and then we get to a place where we can be like, oh, now that I've thrust forward, I can just like relax into this sustainable and positive, or more grounded place now that I'm up the mountain.
Right. You took the action, you put in the work, and now you can enjoy the view a little bit.
Yeah, I could not have said it better.
Really,
and with Mercury and Taurus, the view is going to be nice.
Yeah, it's going to be, I can't wait.
There's going to be a lushness of thought and speech.
Oh, yes.
People will get sweeter. So like if you're trying to be sweet to someone or be sweet to yourself.
It will get reciprocated, or it will expand. Yes.
Yes, and it will matter.
Yeah.
It will matter. Speaking of things that are going to be exciting and wonderful and that matter, I'm just in love with this lunar cycle. But the second transit is Venus conjoining Uranus and the Sun conjoining Jupiter in Taurus on Saturday, May 18th. The Venus-Uranus conjunction will happen at 6:40 in the morning, Central Daylight Time. And then the Sun-Jupiter conjunction will be at 23 degrees of Taurus at 1:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So just a few hours apart at 28 degrees of Taurus, respectively.
Okay.
So that's going to be Venus-Uranus, brand new desires, newfound pleasures, like lovely surprises. And then Sun-Jupiter, there's just like an expansion of energy, a good vibe, an emanation of positivity.
Yeah. Literally the rainbow emoji.
Yeah. That's
I love that.
On my show notes, I put the rainbow
I love that's
emoji.
like the perfect like emoji.
Yes. And on this day, both of the benefics are going to be making conjunctions with other planets. So it's like, your joy, your pleasure, your power, your faith. Look for all
Heightened.
of these.
Okay.
Yes.
Extremely heightened. Oh, I can't wait. I love we love all the good things.
Oh, we love it. And for everybody listening to, this is my birthday this year. So I'm like,
So,
oh, yes.
What a perfect day. Oh my God.
Yes. Benefic action on my own birthday.
You're
Like,
just going to be a ball of love and light.
let me bake it into my stellar return chart. And Taurus would be baking or something as well. Something joyful and positive.
Expressing
and
your
delicious.
love. Yeah. Not only are you going to be taking care of yourself, you'll most likely be expanding that love to those around you as well that day.
I think you also just hit upon something, the novel expression of love. So like expressing love or receiving love in a completely different way, Uranus, than we have in some time.
Yeah.
And Venus rules this whole roost, right, in Taurus. Like she's still the ruler of the sign. So everything kind of is modulated or goes through her. And so for Venus being on Uranus and the sun being on Jupiter, I think we need to expect something new to grow and flourish, as we've been saying.
And it might be unexpected, and that's even more exciting.
And Uranus also, besides that surprising and unexpected quality, it also has this technological quality or this innovative quality. So like if you're online dating right now, just saying May 18th is a great time for online dating.
Okay. All right.
Or for brand new steps in relationships.
Oh, okay.
If you are thinking too about purchasing anything that you've like never bought before, great day to make that happen.
I was like, just the urge. If I find myself having the urge to shop, which is usually every day, but I do control myself for the most part. But I'm gonna keep that in mind for that day. I'll make a little list.
That's totally your moon in the second. Moon in the second is like, let's get stuff.
It always makes me feel better. It does. And it's a little bit of capitalism too, but I do blame my birth chart because you're absolutely correct.
Well, and for those of y'all listening, Taurus is maybe not a capitalist, but totally is acquisitive. Taurus wants things.
Oh, yes.
It desires things.
And you will get them.
At least with this kind of awesome astrology. I would say that this is probably one of the best days of the month. I think between like May 15th and 18th is a stretch of a few days where I'd be like, mark those out for anything that you want good energy to be infused into, because it's a cherry of a time.
Okay. Oh, I can't wait.
Especially for if there's anything that you are wanting to change up, that maybe you've been a little afraid of changing up, especially after this full moon in Scorpio cycle.
But I think, obviously change is very scary, but the more that you experience from personal experience, the more that you experience, the easier it becomes. And honestly, it actually becomes kind of more exciting, even though it might happen in ways that we don't want it to happen. And so I don't know. I'm looking forward. If there's any changes happening, it's like, well, come on, bring them on. I'm excited. Like, these are new horizons that we're looking at here.
I have this visual of like someone experimenting in the garden, like with growing something brand new and being like, is it going to work? And in this case, like it might be like planting mint, where you'd be like, oh, is it going to work? And then all of a sudden your whole garden is mint.
And you're like, oh, it did work.
It worked
too well.
Really well. Sun, Jupiter. Now my whole garden is mint.
And my backyard is just mint.
So there is the potential for everybody listening to overdo certain things.
Overindulge a little bit.
Overindulge is the
that
perfect
hedonist
word.
maybe aspect, we're leaning more towards that.
Yeah, so be careful to like moderate intake. Taurus is peaceful and grounded and stable, but not always moderate, especially with Sun, Jupiter. It's like, oh, this could be amazing, but if this is amazing, how much more amazing would more be?
Yeah. Even better. 100 times more amazing.
And that is
Until it becomes a problem.
sometimes the case, but we don't want to, in Taurus, get too heavy. And so we can keep it a little lighter with just, noticing, being mindful. Mercury will be in Taurus, so we can be mindful of what it is we're doing.
Being gentle, with yourself, others around you.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of what I kind of got off track, but embracing change and being gentle on yourself when the change might seem a bit more challenging than what you expect.
And know you've got the Mars still in Aries at this time. So like you've got the juice to get it done.
Yeah.
But the Mars in Aries might want to like party really hard. And the Taurus placements are like, oh, let's get super drunk. And then you're like, well, no.
Hold on. Yeah.
Let's not do that.
That's not going to help.
No. It's really fun to have a couple glasses of champagne at a party, but like having 10, You know what I mean?
You know, it's
No.
not, it's not benefit. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get you closer to the goal that you're wanting. If anything, it's going to probably make you take a step back because you're going to need a day to recover.
And if that happens to anybody around this time, like, that's natural.
Yeah.
And that's normal. And we are going to have a vibe shift pretty soon as our third transit comes.
When the sun enters Gemini on Monday, May 20th at 7:57 a.m. Gemini season is such an interesting season. I learned so much from Geminis, and I love it.
Well, and of course, because Gemini is our mutable air sign ruled by Mercury. And so it is Mercury's expressive sign, whereas Virgo is Mercury's sort of interpretive internal sign. So this is about like talking, chatting, communicating, writing, express, like literally all of the things creative and mercurial.
Yeah. I've known and still know many Geminis, and I love, they always just offer so many perspectives on something that I never would have thought of. Now, granted, being a Sagittarius sun, I have a bit, I can get a little preachy. I kind of have, not saying Geminis don't have morals. I have a little bit more of a bias with my morals and like where I stand on my values. And so they push that sometimes where I'm like, okay, I think you're being a little too
Glib.
Glib, or like, I think you're going a little bit too much in the gray area. Like, let's not cross that line. But however, they do always offer just, new ideas, new perspectives. It's incredible. I lived with a Gemini for a couple of years, and the conversations we had were astounding and very impactful. I learned a lot from him.
Well, and you are highlighting the fact that Gemini is a mutable sign, meaning it can move in any direction.
Mm-hmm.
And Gemini actually means the twins. And the twins, Castor and Pollux, one's immortal, one's not immortal. Gemini can literally take the entire spectrum of thought, and they can take up either end's position, like with just as much sincerity. And so, I mean, you as a Sag, Jupiter-ruled people are always going to have a little bit more of this high moral, like capital T truth compass.
Yeah.
And
I can get a little
Geminis,
preachy.
well, but Geminis can also get a little bit verbose.
Yeah.
You know, and the conversations are astounding. Like you said, you can be like, oh my gosh, I'm learning so much from so many different angles from you. But it can be sometimes confusing for them too. Like they can talk out of both sides of their mouths.
And then they're like, what did I say?
And you're like, I'm sure you were being the devil's advocate because you can't actually think that.
Oh, devil's advocate is such a good way to phrase conversations with Geminis, because that's really what they do. And I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just kind of
Natural.
And it's fine. Like, I say that in the least non-judgmental way possible.
And they expand the mind. They really expand the mind. And it's going to be really nice too, because Mercury is going to be in Taurus until June 3rd. But after June 3rd, it'll be the Sun and Mercury in Gemini, and Mercury rules Gemini. So it'll be like some extra creative, extra conversational, and connective, or like great times for learning.
Oh, absolutely. And most Geminis that I've seen are highly creative people. The way they approach projects, the way they just approach life in general. Just super different, super creative.
It's lighter than Taurus season too. There's a bit of this ethereal kind of bubbly nature to Gemini.
It's that excitement. It's like that energy. I kind of feel like they have like a
quickness.
Yeah, a quickness, a sharpness, a wittiness. It's
totally.
They're on it.
And they're not too bound by anything, so they
No.
can let their minds and their selves explore all kinds of different things. Like the emojis I have for the Gemini notes right now are butterflies and bubbles.
Yep, yes.
So,
Bubbles. I just saw the bubbles too.
stuff that's light and that floats.
Mhm.
So if for you this Taurus season is feeling a bit like consumptive or intense or in any way like heavy, which I don't think it should feel that way. I mean, I'm a Taurus Sun Mercury though, so I'm like, it shouldn't feel that way. It should
You'll
feel
be
excellent.
fine. Yeah.
But if you're looking for sort of, some chaos or some chill to enter the chat, then Gemini season is going to be perfect.
It'll happen.
Perfect for you then. And the Sun also, to throw it in there, rules the last decan in Gemini. And the Sun will be there from Tuesday, June 11th until June 20th. So that last little bit, we're going to have Mercury in Gemini and the Sun in its own decan. So there should be some beautiful time for writing, exchanging, for doing business deals, traveling. If you've planned a trip and you're going to be traveling between, June 11th and 20th, going to have the best time.
Yeah.
Especially because Jupiter, I'm getting ahead of myself, Jupiter will also be there.
Yeah.
That's next lunar cycle.
Ooh,
But
how exciting.
I know.
Oh, man, I'm stoked. I mean, I love Taurus season, but I'm stoked for Gemini season.
There's a lot more, I think, imagination and like the allowance for flights of fancy, things that might not even ever become material, but that you need the bandwidth or the space to explore.
Yeah.
Because we need reverie, we need daydreaming, or else we're just here.
Yeah.
We're grounded.
We're not having fun,
Gemini is fun.
Yeah, they are.
And I know this makes sense. So as soon as the sun goes into Gemini, right, like around May 20th, it's pretty much when all kids, which Mercury also speaks to kids, when they get out of school, when they're liberated, when they're able to just go around, do nothing too serious.
Be kids. They get to have that unbridled creativity. Their imaginations can run wild.
And even us adults, we can kind of get back into that more like youthful mindset and feel a little bit more free ourselves.
Or maybe doing things to, enable your inner child a little bit or bring that joy back,
The joy of the inner child. I think that's a lot of the best parts of Gemini season.
Yeah.
Now, there might be a bit of flakiness or waffling or like not. Gemini is not ever sure exactly what they want. And so that might come in too, where like you were so clear on what it was that you were planting seeds and growing during Taurus season. And now you might be like, okay, I was loving tending my garden, but now I want to go to Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah. It's like now I kind of want to jump from this to this to this to this. So priorities might get a little bit jumbled. Might be some indecisiveness.
But that's also natural. And the things that we're, I think, going to be kind of choosing between or exploring, they're going to also be really meaningful.
Yeah.
At a high level.
Yeah. Ooh.
And so kind of just to close things out, our next lunation is going to be the full moon in Sagittarius that happens on the 23rd. And then I'll get into Jupiter moving and all that great stuff. But it's also another relatively high-spirited and pretty positive moon.
I know. I'm excited just because it's in my sign.
I know,
That's
girl.
what I'm looking forward to the most.
That's why I'm looking forward to this moon in Taurus.
As you should. Yeah.
It's in my side. Everybody likes to hear their own name, right? And feel their own feelings. And be like, now the spotlight's on me.
Now it's on me. The expansion can really begin.
Right. And the full moon is at apex. So look forward to, I'd say, growing a lot of things, to experiencing joy and novelty. And
what will I point my arrow at this time?
Right.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right. The games will be afoot.
Yes.
Well, thank you all so much for listening, and we will be back with that full moon in Sag.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.
Life can change in an instant. For many wheelchair users, the struggle to push forward is a daily challenge.
After years of development and countless prototypes, we created Rib Grips, the revolutionary wheelchair hand rim covers with built-in ribs for ultimate grip and comfort.
No more slick surfaces, no more heat burns, just pure, reliable grip. Rib Grips, empowering you to push forward with ease. Rib Grips, get a grip on your freedom. Discover the difference. Visit ribgrips.com and use promo code GRIP today.
In a world where dreams meet reality, there exists a place where your business can flourish. That place is Shopify. Imagine having the power to craft your online store with tools that make it as easy as a gentle breeze. Whether you're an artisan of handmade wonders, a creator of digital treasures, or a curator of the latest trends, Shopify stands by your side. With its customizable templates, seamless integrations, and support that's always there, your dream store is just a heartbeat away. Join millions of visionaries around the globe and let Shopify guide you on your journey. Visit roguemedianetwork.com/Shopify. That's roguemedianetwork.com/SHOPIFY. And embark on your free trial. Shopify, where your commerce dreams come to life.